I would say so. Absolutely incredible, guys. Amazing. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our band show, the 21st episode. Can you believe it? Our little show is finally old enough to buy itself a beer if it would like. And, well, we think that's just great. 21 episodes. 21. I remember when there was a time where we were like, are we going to get 5 of these done? And now we have artists literally taking the Hudson River to be here. And that's just incredible.
Yeah, congrats on 2 years on this. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it a lot. It's just because of bands like you coming on that are, first of all, so rad and easy to work with, but also just, we have so many great people in the chat, you know, like it's just a beautiful thing to share audiences and just rock out and hear all different types of music. So if you guys are just learning about Suburban Surf Club tonight, well, we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to uncover it all. So once again, I'm your host, Christian Ivanko. Welcome into our band show. We are joined by Aaron, Marcelo, and Dan, and let me just say, it's been a pleasure to listen to you guys jam all afternoon.
Thank you. I mean, this is incredible, first of all. I mean, what a setup. Like, there's not many places that do this and put in this much effort. And, you know, shout out to the crew and everybody. Everybody's been so awesome from, like, the time we got here. People were helping us load in. It was crazy. So I really appreciate you guys having us.
Oh, likewise. I mean, you guys literally brought us T-shirts. These tie-dye shirts were gifts from the band that you'll see myself and some of the crew wearing, and they represent the colors of their new record, which just came out on Wednesday, which we will get into in a little bit. But before we get to where we are now, I want to go all the way back to where it all started. So I would love, sparing no detail, the history of Suburban Surf Club. How did you guys form?
Yeah. So I had a few songs written and I had some studio time booked up at a place called Bunker Recordings up in the Catskills area. Shout out Mike Dwyer. And I was in like a band in the city before that, and the band dissolved. And so I had to deposit on the studio, and I had a few songs written. So I was like, let's just take a weekend and go up there. But I don't drum. So I needed a drummer, and luckily I knew Marcelo, and so Marcelo helped. He stepped in and really killed it on those first 2 tracks on Join the Club was the name of like the single release. So yeah, that's how we started. And then we were like, we want to, perform more often. And we had a few of our friends, help us out in shows. But we needed like a permanent drummer. So he said he knew one, and Dan the man stepped up, and he's an incredible drummer, and we're lucky to have him.
That he is. But before we dive into Dan the man, Marcelo, why were you not the answer for a permanent drummer? I mean, the first 2 songs are awesome. I dig those tunes just as much as the new EP.
Thank you. So, I actually met this guy, Aaron, on a different band. They needed a drummer, as everybody does. And I was looking for a band, or like at least somebody to play shows with. And so I just played with them, joined them. And I was playing a lot of drums, and if you play drums, you have to carry a lot of things. So I kind of was like, yeah, I'll help you, but let me play guitar, please, because I don't want to move all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted somebody else. And so now he gets to carry all this stuff. So
fair enough. So it was really just first come, first serve, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, I was the lowest at the creek there.
I think it all worked out, though. I mean, Dan, I love everything you're doing. You guys have a pretty eclectic sound. It's a little bit of indie, a little bit of shoegazy, a little bit of punk, a little bit of like old school rock. We were talking about that before we went live. I'd love to know how you guys have sort of found your sound along the way. Dan, like, let's start with you sort of being literally like the backbeat of the group. How do you approach your drumming in Suburban Surf Club?
I definitely had to bring a different approach to this band. Growing up, I listened to a lot of classic rock, which, as you pointed out, that's something that comes out in my playing. But for the most part, this type of music, especially the first 2 singles off their first EP, I was a fan before even joining this. So I was like, I want to do that. And so with the 5 or so songs that we did on this new EP, they came with their ideas already pretty much fleshed out, and they just needed somebody to support the actual music. And that's what I thought my responsibility was, is I just wanted to fill the space with something that represented the mood they were trying to bring. So I'm not trying to go outside the box with this stuff. It's fun, energetic, and I just kind of wanted to listen to what they had to say and kind of conform to that with this music.
I love that. And I'm a huge classic rock fan myself. Who were some of those drummers or bands that really inspired you early on?
I mean, the biggest one, I don't know if you can get this on screen, but John Bonham of Led Zeppelin was basically the core of all the other inspirations I listened to. So like Mark Portnoy from Dream Theater, Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and many, many others. A lot of their influences stem from Led Zeppelin because of just how vast of an audience they reached. And so like for me, that's exactly it, is just the power behind stuff, the simplicity of the, again, backbeat. That's basically what Zeppelin brought with my music as well.
For sure. And I definitely get a lot of that. Now, let's talk about sort of what you are, drumming to. Aaron, I know you originally started this as a solo project in a sense, basically just out of necessity to continue to create, despite, like you said, unfortunately, your band falling apart. So why don't you talk to me about the direction of those early tunes and then how it's sort of morphed since you started jamming with Dan and Marcella?
Yeah, so my first track was actually, I think it was Oakland 76 that I wrote, and it was literally titled like Indie Song, and I had it probably on my laptop for like a year and a half. And I just I wrote it one night and just had no plans to, go any further than just having like that track just for the sake of creation. But like you said, out of necessity, luckily I had that song written, and I was like, you know what, now's a good time to, maybe try that out. And just a very low pressure scenario. Songs were already pretty much written. I just needed somebody to drum.
Amazing. And I guess at first that was Marcelo, but somewhere along the line, Marcelo decided carrying stuff's not too much fun. I'd rather carry just a small amp and a road case. So how do you approach as a multi-instrumentalist and kind of someone who can shred? You definitely can shred, but this music also, I think a lot of times calls for openness and space. Marcelo, how do you approach that as a guitar player who is clearly multifaceted?
Thank you. So, the way I do it is kind of, you can hear I use a lot of reverb, because we are doing a lot of like indie surf music, but surf itself has a lot of reverb, a lot of vibey sounds. But I listen to a lot of Midwest emo and emo in general, which they don't let me play out here. And they have a lot of open chords, nice pretty tones, pretty sounds, and I try to do that where I can, and then just add some gain when it's I feel like it's a good spot. But mostly just pretty chords, pretty guitars, and then just let kind of the rhythm flow, and then the song go where it feels like it should go.
Amazing. Yeah, I definitely get the sense, and there will be some other solos in the set that are pretty rock and roll as well, but it's like the moments, right? And I think it comes after such a long wave, no pun intended, of relaxation, that when we hit that moment, it's very climactic, which is just good songwriting in my opinion. And
Thank you.
You guys do it well. So we have a few questions from the chat. And by the way, there are a ton of folks watching at home. Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate that. And if you would be so kind, it would mean the world to us, honestly, if you could like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Not only will it help us here at our band show, it'll help the band. This is, as I think music should be, this is a very communicative, almost like jazz sort of back and forth we like to share with our artists, hoping that we can promote each other to further eyeballs and ears on both of our projects. So if you guys would be so inclined, we'd greatly appreciate that. And we have a question in the chat. I'm going to toss it to the band. They want to know, what is the best NY pizza?
Ooh. I'm not one for like just being like, oh, this restaurant, you got to go there. What I always say is go to the dollar slice places. They're mostly like $1.25 now. Inflation's real. But like those ones, they're always, go to Lower East Side. That's probably where you're going to find the best pizza for the dollar slices. Because they're all like near music venues or bars and stuff. And they're just constantly sending slices out. So they're always hot. They're always ready, but it's not Little Caesars. It's like actual good stuff. So I would recommend, just go to your local dollar slice store, drop $1.25 or $1.50 or whatever it is these days, and you're going to have a good time.
Or what you can do is go to Pizza Hut, because that's the real answer here. So
Going to get us canceled.
Okay. Pat, can we edit that one out?
The audience just left.
Or maybe it's a sponsorship opportunity.
Not to be too much of a homer, but I'm going to shout out Florina's, and I believe it's Fishkill. Super underrated slice. brick oven, always perfect.
Brick oven's good.
Right amount of crisp, right amount of flavor, and I'd also say right amount of creativity, while still staying in the confines of what pizza should be. What about you, Dan? Favorite slice?
Well, I can't speak for NY except for the dollar slice place, but I'm fortunate enough to come from the New Haven section of stuff where that's its own subculture of pizza, and so I'm a bit of a snob. So unless it's modern pizza, it ain't pizza. So,
Fair enough. I feel like we have to end that here before we get into some murky territory.
Sorry, not sorry.
Ton of folks in the chat. We can't thank you guys enough. We appreciate all the love, all the support. We're getting a ton of wave emojis, a ton of surfboards, a ton of sunshine emojis, and that's just what we're trying to do here. Spread some love and positivity and share the stoke. Does that apply here?
Oh, yeah, we're stoked.
So
We're
with
not
that
stoked
said,
by this point, you're going to be.
That's true. We have another set coming up, and I'm pretty stoked for that. So let's, without further ado, settle in to another bout of music, if you will. So for the second time tonight, and not the last time by any means, I'm excited to introduce Suburban Surf Club again, and they're going to take it away with their first track of this set, If You Ain't First. Take it away, guys.